Welcome, everyone, to the Real Whovians Cast, episode 735. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212. I'm with Chris. What's up, Chris?
Hello, everyone.
What's up, Scott?
If anybody can explain why I've got this face, I'd be love to know.
So you remember to save people.
Yes, exactly. All right, so we're going to show some. We have some. What do you want to see first? Do you want to see the spoilers, or do you want to see the pictures of Face the Raven?
Let's see the face of the Raven picture first, and then see the
Yeah.
All right, so that's what we're going to do. Let me screen share. And again, while I'm screen sharing, I can't see anybody coming in, guys, so just alert me. Okay, so, of course, we have, that's the main picture. We know that.
That excellent picture.
Cool
Right.
picture.
And then, okay, and then, can you guys see these?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a shielda? Yeah.
Yes. Okay, let me just, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight myself so you guys can see that, okay. All right, so this is the first picture. Oh, no, I'm sorry, so
Ooh, that's a good one of her.
Here's the first picture.
Nice scarf.
She's with a weird thing with the doctor. He's all dressed up for the occasion and wonder
Who's
why.
that guy in the background?
That's police.
Oh.
I don't know what that means. Of course, he's either dressed for a wedding or a funeral. Hopefully not a funeral, but we'll see. All right, so that we have,
Of course.
we have her looking weird.
I saw another picture. Oh, the Jadoon. All right.
Yeah,
There was another picture of her having like strange tattoos around her chest, and I think that scarf was concealing them.
And there she is. He's talking to her. Talking to whoever this guy is with that weird stuff in the background. Whoever that's
Rigsby.
And then whoever.
Yeah. And probably his girlfriend or another friend.
A person with a face in the back of the head.
Damn.
It's Voldemort.
Clara.
Damn.
Uh-oh, something's happening. Shoved her. And again, look at the woman with the two faces in the back. Right?
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
He's got something on his arm. A band. She's got weird things on the mantle. That's weird.
Yeah.
There she is.
Like I said, that was a good picture of her.
And she's got some tattoo underneath her neck.
Yeah.
Again, that's all we have. But let's go with it again.
The scarf is concealing it just a bit.
Let's go backwards. Okay, so we got this.
That weird necklace she's wearing, too.
It's almost like a time necklace.
Yeah. She looks like pissed off, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at those eyes.
Annoyed. Again, he should have been dressed like this the whole season, by the way.
Oh,
That is a really cool
I would
outfit.
love to have seen that.
Yeah, not the last couple episodes, but
It's like the woman in the back is comforting the one sitting down.
what was, you know how we see some stuff from the trailer, we still didn't see that device that in that trailer, that first trailer at that time. There was certain things we still didn't see. It was like that weird device thing, remember?
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, the set design in this
He
looks
still
really
has
cool.
that gizmo on his wrist there, his arm. Ew, that's just so weird.
Yes. I didn't see any Ood. I didn't see any Cybermen. Rumor has it that there's possible Weeping Angels. I mean, they're supposed to appear, you know. I don't know when, but, you know. So we got that, guys. I mean, what'd you think? That was pretty cool, right?
Yes.
I was saying before that the set design looks really, really good in that episode. Like, whoever designed it did a fantastic job from what we can see in those pictures.
Yeah. Now let's see. We have the where are the teasers now? Oh, it was on blog. I'm sorry, Blogter. Who had it? I believe. Let's go to that. Okay. Save this out. Hold on. Okay, Face the Raven teasers. Ready?
Yeah.
Potential spoilers follow here.
Here we go. This is spoiler territory, guys. Here we go. Ready? We cannot take you back down your timeline.
Ooh.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Okay, second one. It very nearly ate you for dinner.
Whoa.
Don't bring the new human. I'll just get distracted.
What?
Your prefrontal cortex is marinating in it.
I wonder if that's the one with the backwards head.
Don't start using my actual name now. He's got
That
this.
sounds like a shielder.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. He's got this whole secret room in the TARDIS.
Ooh.
Some of your greatest enemies are within a few feet of you.
Uh-oh.
Oh, damn. I wonder if that's from the Jadoon.
I did this to save you, you silly old thing. That's a shoulder. That's a shoulder, probably. I might as well be back in a war zone.
Oh.
That's the doctor, probably. Okay, here we go. Ready for this? This is the big one. Ready? The doctor is no longer here. You are stuck with me, and I will end you and everything you love.
Oh, son of a mother.
Wow! Holy, you shilled the Talon Clara off!
Damn.
Or could it be Clara telling the shoulder off?
I hope it is. I really do.
Yeah. I hope
Man.
Claire's going to do some slapping to her.
Well, now keep in mind, Moffat said now to Rigsby, Clara is the doctor, and the Time Lord's just some old guy running around. So, in essence, she's going to be the doctor here
Yeah.
to Rigsby. You know what I'm saying? I got to say some of these again. Let's go back. Ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
We cannot take you back down your timeline. What could that mean now?
I think maybe that's the doctor talking to Rigsby, because remember it says Rigsby goes to them and asks them for help? Maybe
Okay.
he's like, can you just help me go back in time and fix this? And the doctor's like, no, we can't go back down your timeline.
Okay. Or it could be that Clara dies and then the Jadoon or somebody said we can't take you back. Nah.
Could
It's more
be.
like the doctor.
It
Okay.
sounds more like Rigsby.
Okay. It very nearly ate you for dinner.
No idea.
Don't bring me the new human. I'll just get distracted. Your
That sounds like something that
That's a shoulder.
Shoulder might say. Or
Shoulder? Your prefrontal cortex is marinating in it.
That sounds like something the doctor would say.
Isn't that like I'm trying to remember what the prefrontal cortex process is.
That's not something the doctor would say. That's somebody else would say.
Well, it might be something the doctor says, like, because I think that might be the part of the brain that processes fear along with other emotions. I could be wrong. I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna
Don't
see.
start using my actual name now.
That
I think
sounds like
that's
something
Shoulder.
Shield would say. She's probably trying to say.
Okay. He's got the whole secret room in the TARDIS. He's got this whole secret room in the TARDIS. That's got to be Clara.
Uh-huh.
Man, wouldn't it be crazy if they were talking about like the room with the Eye of Harmony or something?
Yeah.
Some of your greatest enemies are within a few feet of you.
That sounds like something Shield would say.
And then she says, probably, Shoulder probably says to the doctor, I did this to save you, you silly old thing.
Could be.
I might as well be back in a war zone. That's probably the doctor talking.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor is no longer here. You are stuck with me, and I will end you and everything you love. That's got to be Shoulder talking
Yeah.
I
to Clara.
can't see Clara saying that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's got to be Shoulder talking to Clara. Wow. That's going to be some crazy stuff.
Probably. I want to say it's probably probably a little bit after she says, "I'll be brave, got to be brave" type of deal.
Listen, somebody's going to be... That's going to be crazy, man. Jeez. All right, so I think it's safe to assume that everybody is looking for Face the Raven
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
this Saturday. So, also, okay, here's the thing that also we were talking about a little bit. Moffat came out and told Mark Gatiss to write a sequel to Sleep No More for Series 10. Now, why would he do that? Could it be to save face?
Possibly.
Meaning that if he made a second episode, that it would save the first episode because there would be a reason not to hate it or dislike it or think it's a crappy episode. I mean, it's to build upon. So in other words, we'll have to go and look back on it differently.
Could
Because
be.
he actually basically told him, you're not writing anything but this in a sense. It's like, you're going to do one episode and this is what you're going to do. And he's like, okay. So Mark Gatiss is doing a sequel to Sleep No More for Series 10.
Maybe he wants him just to expand on it. Maybe Moffat likes the idea of the episode and he wants it to get expanded upon because he thinks it could be a good idea to have in season 10 or series 10 and maybe beyond.
I think it's just the opposite. I think he's trying to get him to save the
Well,
fact
well,
that it's a
could be,
bad
yeah.
episode. And he wants them to make it that it's better.
So if they do, is it going to be another found footage, or is it just going to be a
I don't think so.
run?
I doubt it, and I think that maybe this was a situation where this should have been a two-parter. That of all certain things should have been a one-parter, but this should have been a two-parter.
Yeah.
The lake one could have been one part.
One-parter.
Yeah.
So they ruined it. Like
Honestly, you know how they could have made the lake one part is get rid of the ghosts, right?
Oh God, yes.
Have the Fisher King be the thing chasing them throughout the base, and then at the end of the episode, the Doctor solves that with
And
them.
just have the Fisher King be a shadow for like maybe the first few minutes, maybe the first, I'm gonna say the first half of this
Right.
show, and then finally when he makes his appearance, boom.
Right.
But just think, if we didn't lose that one episode that we've lost last year too, we could have had a two-parter, Mark Gatiss.
Could have, yeah.
And if it only spent a day in filming it, they could have. I mean, whatever. Again, I'm really I'm not crazy the fact that Mark Gatiss' episode for Series 10 is going to be Sleep No More too. I'm really not happy about that. I mean, I want to see. I thought he's going to bring the Ice Warriors back. He promised.
I would love to see the Ice
He's
Warriors.
going to redesign the Ice Warriors. That's what he promised. I thought we were going to have something different.
Yeah, because I'm with you. It's great to see the Daleks and the Cybermen, but let's give them a break.
Listen, Moffat. Listen, he made a bad episode. As far as the majority of the consensus is concerned, so just leave it at that. You don't revisit Love and Monsters.
Yeah.
You don't revisit Journey to the Center of the Toilet.
Yeah.
Don't
Boy,
revisit this far.
That.
They even said the ratings for this was the first time was an all-time low, and the last time it was an all-time low was Love and Monsters came out. So it's got equal ratings to Love and Monsters. So, again,
Who reported that?
that was on one of the sites. But again, all due respect, all right, people can like it. It's okay. It's okay. But a lot of people didn't.
Like I said, I like, but all around, I wouldn't count this as. I even said I count it as a 6 or 7, but it's not one of my top most favorites.
Listen, most of the people, right, that don't badmouth episodes are coming out badmouthing this episode because they can't believe how bad it is. So, again, we're having people that have never said anything bad about an episode before coming out and saying it's terrible.
And I don't understand that too, like that whole mentality that just because it's Doctor Who, it has to be good. It doesn't have to be good.
No.
Doctor Who has had bad episodes before. It's okay to say that episode wasn't good. You don't always have to, because I always see these sites that are like, oh, it was great. It had a great this, and it's like, no. If there's a bad episode, say there's a bad episode.
Because you know what it is? The way society is this day and age, it's all changing where they all want to say positive, and then you can't say if the episode's terrible. And then it's basically lying to the public. So then when it's after it, while it's out, then you'll see, like, when Series 10 is out, they're like, oh, yeah, that was a bad episode. Well, why don't you say it from the beginning?
Right.
Because they want to be part of the minority and not
the thing is, it's a freedom of speech. You should be able to say, it's a good episode or a bad episode. And because you say it's a bad episode does not mean you're a hater.
No.
But people twist it like it is.
Being a hater is somebody who looks at, like, what's a really good episode?
I gave a perfect 10 to the Zygon inversion. Now, are people going to attack me because I liked an episode that they don't like? What's the problem?
Well, being a hater would be like, I don't like Sleep No More. I just don't like it. I hate it.
Right.
Why? Because I do. That's not a reason. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, saying that's my opinion doesn't count unless you have a valid reason for hating something.
Right. Here's the thing. My opinion is the Doctor doesn't run, turn, tail, jump in the TARDIS, take off, and that's it.
Exactly.
He solves everything. And if he can't solve it, he'll go back and solve it. You don't leave it and go through 20 adventures and then come back to it afterwards.
He literally just was like, it doesn't make sense. We're going by. And it was like...
You know what I think? Can I ask you a question? What if the fact was that he did walk upset and they had nothing else filmed with him?
That's how it felt.
It's possible.
It could have been that they had nothing else filmed with them. Because we did hear he left the set.
I would love to know why he did. I'd love to know the specific reason why.
He probably got hacked up at Moffat, or the way or basically like what we're doing is how we hate how certain stories are written.
Right.
And he probably read this and this is not what the Doctor would do. And he was probably told, okay, you either do it or there's the door. And he says, okay, toodles.
But the thing is that I want to see Gatiss come out and say he left the set. Capaldi. I don't want to see these bullcrap intros when you go and watch the episode. And Capaldi's like, oh, this happens. And Clara's like, oh, this happened. Or Janelle's calling this happened. And Moffat's like, oh, yeah. And Mark Gatiss says, yeah. But meanwhile, nobody likes it. Why, if Capaldi left the set, say it. Why would that hurt Doctor Who? He just didn't like. Why can't he just not like an episode? Why is he forced to say these things? Wouldn't it be more respectable if you have an actor flat out come out and say, hey, yeah, I know that episode was not to our liking or bad or something? I mean, what would be wrong with that?
Okay, it didn't go exactly the way we had planned.
I would rather people be honest with me than bullcrap me.
Because we saw what happened with the first Captain America. The guy who played the Red Skull came out and says,
I hated it. I hated his performance as Red Skull.
Yeah,
I liked everything
he commented about it. And of course, where was he in number 2?
Right, but I've liked everything Hugo Weaving's done, except for Red Skull. So there you go. I mean...
Well, he didn't just say it about that, too. I think he said it about a lot of his past movie roles, that he wasn't happy with a lot of them. And then...
Yeah, but...
I mean, why... that's different. That's him having an ego, I think, personally.
Right, yeah.
With Capaldi, I think... Personally, I don't think it was anything to do with the story. I think that they were trying to do something on set, and he was just like, "This is stupid," and then he just walked off the set. I mean, hey, maybe he was just having a bad day, you know?
I doubt that very much.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But you never know. I mean, this is kind of like that. I mean, it's a different aspect. But remember when Christian Bale got pissed off when they were filming Terminator Salvation? Right. I could see his point of view. I think he took it a little too far.
But you know what I think it is? I think the fact is that they had to film that whole ending sequence because there was nothing else left.
No. That looked like this. Let's have an ending. They might have been constantly doing rewrites on the script.
Well, that's what I heard. On set, it was all confusing.
Yeah, they constantly did, okay, here's a rewrite, here's a rewrite. And Capaldi go, okay, is this what's going to happen here, or is this what's going to happen here?
Let's keep a scene the way we had it originally, yeah.
Now, I can understand doing nips and tucks, but when it's like every 5 minutes, here's a new thing what you need to do.
Well, they filmed that in one day. How long does it usually take to film an episode of Doctor Who?
It's like 2 weeks.
Right. So, I mean, one day?
That looks like it got filmed in a day. Because that looked like garbage.
It's found footage, too, but there were still some special effects that they had to add in. So they hightailed that one.
I still don't understand why Clara was in the Morpheus machine. What was the purpose? I don't understand what the purpose. But there was no consequence of what it done to her or what happened. I don't understand.
I'm telling you, you know what I was waiting for? I was waiting for something with the Dream Lord to happen in that episode.
I was dying for the Dream
I
Lord.
was waiting for it to be like, this is the pollen or something like that.
Right.
And then you see the Dream Lord like walk by a window or something.
Yeah, just walk by. Like Madame Bavarian with the window opening, like
right.
the door.
She said like, oh, it grabbed me and pulled me in. If this was going to lead into next week's episode and that's how something happened to her, I could see that. But literally, it was pointless. The thing that I really didn't like about the episode was when Rasmussen, or whatever the hell his name was talking into the camera. When he was talking into the camera, and he was like, there is no pollen. There is no infection. It was like, so you just undercut everything you established in the episode.
Well, one minute I saw him there, and then the next minute I didn't. I guess I missed that he got like eaten or something.
That's what
I saw. Like his legs were hanging out of one of those mucus things.
And I'm
like mouths.
Okay.
And I was like, okay.
And then he's there again, and it's like, all right.
And then you know what was crazy too? Like we see that sealed capsule going through the base.
Yeah.
And then it was like, that's a man who hasn't slept in 5 years. He gets out of the thing, and he does nothing.
That should have been the Fisher King. They should have had the Fisher King in that.
He doesn't look any different from the other ones. Like you could have put that one with the other ones that were there and been like, pick the one that hasn't picked in 5 years, and you would have been like.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why couldn't they just mix the episodes? Why could they just surprise us and not be the Fisher King? Because here's a situation, right?
Right.
We have an episode coming up this week that Moffat did not write, correct?
He didn't write Face the Raven?
I don't think so, did he?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he didn't.
I have to think he did if Clara's possibly leaving in this episode.
Okay, what did we say last year that we wanted to happen? We said that we wanted the companion was going to leave or the Doctor was going to regenerate. Wouldn't it be better to happen in the middle of the freaking season rather than the last episode or the first episode of the Christmas special? They listen to us. That's what they're doing. They're listening to the fans. And they're doing that. But the thing is, I don't think somebody check it out. Chris, can you look it up?
Yeah, I'll look it up, no problem.
Who wrote Face the Raven? Because I don't think he wrote it.
I'm shocked.
I think it's that
if he didn't write it, I'll be shocked, honestly.
I don't know, man. I think.
Let me look it up. Hold on.
Okay.
I'll be shocked if he didn't, because, like, this is his companion, so, like... Face the Raven. No, he didn't write it.
Okay.
Sarah Dollard wrote it. It's directed by Justin, Molotikov.
Okay, so here's the surprise then. Somebody else killed her.
Moffat wrote the last two, though.
But here's the thing. If she really dies, then that's great that he didn't write it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he may be able to do something after. But maybe she doesn't die. Or maybe she has that thing where she's going to... What did it say once you have that tattoo, you die in like 500 and something days?
It looked like on Rigsby's back it said like 597 and a really stylized writing.
Maybe when, at the end of the episode you see it says 597 on her back.
Mm-hmm.
So that means he only has like 597 days.
Which would bring him to maybe, if not the last episode, then the Christmas episode, and we may glimpse her again.
She's not in the Christmas special, Clara. She's totally not in it, they said.
Oh! What if hers doesn't say 597? What if it says a month? And that was what he was talking about in the other episode.
Yeah, like 5 months or something.
That was the longest month of my life?
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe it's maybe Ashilda does something where like she saves Clara, but for some reason she just can't travel with him anymore.
Well, that's what we were talking about. Remember, you and I were talking about that.
Yeah.
A Mordred Undead type of thing where she can't time travel.
Unless maybe Ashilda knows how to get rid of that tattoo or stop the Raven or whatever, right? And she only agrees to do it if Clara agrees never to travel with him again.
Yeah, but that would be stupid, though.
But think about it, though. It would make sense if there's some way that she can prevent her from traveling or something.
But I don't understand. Clara helped her when she first appeared. Why the hell would she be against her?
Well, remember the doctor wouldn't let her travel with her.
Yeah, but
With
see,
him,
that, you
excuse
know
me.
what? That didn't make sense either. Why he wouldn't? So, let me tell you something. If she does something, she's going to be a villain.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he is gonna. I'm telling you right now. If Clara dies, okay, at the hands of his shoulder or whatever, he's gotta react. Just like the Weeping Angels, he's gotta react. I'm talking pissed off.
Mhm.
Okay, I was dying to see Matt Smith just go after that angel and just like they, because you know what would have been interesting? It would have been interesting that because he gave into anger and stuff.
Yeah, for once he gave into anger.
Like he's close to the Valyard type of thing, you know, which what he saw, I believe in God complex. I'm telling you, the way I envision it is that just before he regenerates in a future incarnation, his companion gets killed. And when he regenerates filled with rage. He turns, but the regeneration is different. The lighting's different in the TARDIS, and the TARDIS just cries the cloister bell because there's nobody in the freaking universe that's gonna be able to stop him. And he's just not going to stop there. He's going to annihilate that person that killed his companion, but he is just going to go all out and just be insane. I'm talking insane like we've never seen insane before, where there is totally no way to turn back. And it was going to take like everybody, companions, unit, river, just to like somehow like snap him out
down
or whatever and make him regenerate again. Like that incarnation would be completely evil.
I think you're right. I think it would be great if they don't make that incarnation good. He's just inherently bad.
Yeah.
He's just
and that incarnation is just completely evil.
Yeah.
Like where what they do is they just rip the regenerations from him or something, and somehow the Doctor's able to come back, but without that incarnation, or somehow when he regenerates into two, like a Star Trek episode.
That's what I was saying. You know what I was saying? If and when the Doctor ever regenerates into have like a female incarnation, how they kind of offset it is have like half the regeneration energy split, and that becomes the Valyard, and that's her enemy for that season.
Oh, you mean the female would be the real Doctor, and the Valyard would be the
It would be a male version of the Doctor, and
right, because I just that would be the thing where, or it could be that the Valyard, when he regenerates, the regeneration forms a secondary into the Doctor, but just leaves him there. It just leaves him there because it doesn't want him merging with the Doctor.
Yeah.
And they let you.
And then he goes back in time to steal the regenerations from the Sixth Doctor.
But yet they allow you to think this is the actual Doctor, the genuine article, and maybe let it go maybe 2 episodes, 3 episodes, so you find out this is not the true, genuine.
Well, you know what it could be? It could be he regenerates into the Valyard, but the regeneration is incomplete. And then when it's about to do it, he kind of shoots the regeneration thing out of him.
Yeah, like he did with the hand.
And the Doctor is formed, but he doesn't have any regenerations. And then he goes down the timeline to the Sixth Doctor to get regenerations.
Yes.
But completely have, this is the thing, you want to have some interest. You want to do something different in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
This incarnation's got like that they're gonna have is got to be completely freaking evil.
Mm-hmm.
Where in a way where not the evil where he goes and kills companions or anything, but like he just freaking has no mercy.
Yeah.
So like any villain.
You know what would be great too? If the TARDIS realized what he became, right? And it wasn't going to take him
out.
No, and somehow he forces the TARDIS to make it go where he wants. like he modifies it or something, and like it's in like literally like the TARDIS is in pain,
Right.
and it's like constantly doing the cloister bell, but like it's just being forced, kind of like the paradox machine. Remember what the Master did to
Yeah.
it? He does something similar to that makes it go wherever he wants without question.
Well, what I would do is that Valyard would be young, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the TARDIS flat out, just like it screwed around with Clara, and it pulled her in a minisode
Hmm.
where it pulled her out of time, and like me and Clara's intervening with each other. The TARDIS rips time apart, calling the previous doctors to take the Valyard out. Talk to David Tennant, whatever. And then when they all are on him, when they defeat him, they make him regenerate, but then he decides to escape the regeneration, sort of like the Hand or something.
Yeah.
And he's just, you know, or the Valyard regenerates into the Doctor, but then the Doctor shoots it out of him, and there's the Valyard, you know?
You know what would be
That's
cool?
when he hides in the Matrix.
Yeah. You know what would be cool is if some way like they were able to look inside like the mind or the consciousness of the Valyard, right? And you see like the other doctors, it looks like it's kind of like a prison cell, and like the other doctors are like in cages, like those parts of his personality are just like trapped and they can't get out. And like
Oh,
you
like
like
a
walk
mindscape.
Yeah,
The
And he's
you walk
walking
by.
around with his hands behind his back.
You see
and
like the 11th
he's taunting,
Doctor
right?
and like the first and second Doctor, like they're like in cages, just like, you know.
But
You gotta
that would be
stop this
cool
guy.
because they could have like the 7th Doctor, the 6th
Yeah, yeah.
Doctor, looking old or whatever inside
Yeah.
the mindscape.
They
And
look
then-
horrible.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Inquisition, have them all chained in some way as if they're going through some sort of Inquisition trial, and
The Valyard's the judge or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or you could have them in the mindscape, but sitting down, like
Yeah.
just in chains. And all you need is them to talk. Like the 6th, the 7th, whatever, and it's like, and then they all try to concentrate to like make him regenerate. Like try to force the regeneration. You know?
There's so much they could do with the Valyard.
So much.
oh yeah, I'd love. That's one of the person I wish they bring
So
back.
much.
Even
Bring the Dream Lord back. Come on.
that's why, like I said, I wish that's what I wish they would have
Why
done.
don't they do cool stuff
bring
like
the
that?
center.
Why is it like crap? Like the crap in your eye becomes a creature. Like I was joking around the other day, like, what's next? You fart and in a different universe you create a civilization? That's like dumb. Like seriously, like nobody gives a crap about the crust in your eye creating creatures. It's stupid. It's dumb.
That tells me
Sandman looks stupid.
something like that. That tells me that they were trying to do a speedy episode. They didn't have anything set up.
Garbage, man.
And
The thing is, like honestly, I mean, other than like budget things, but you can still find a clever way to do it. There's nothing holding them back from doing something really extravagant
Right.
that would draw in like honestly, if your ratings are dropping, do something really unexpected and really creative that
Right.
will draw ratings back in.
Right.
I don't understand why it's got to be so tame all the time. Like,
I don't know.
look at David Tennant with Journey's End and all that. With you know, all the companions coming together.
That was
Davros
great.
shows up. The Earth gets taken.
I love that. That's what I'm going to show Sharon next.
Yeah, like
I
why
love
why
that.
the hell can't we do something like that? They don't have to do it all the time.
There's no
but
rules. Why can't
every
Martha
now
Jones
and
come
then.
back or somebody? Why not?
Right.
It's ridiculous.
All you got to do is call these actors up and be like, "Hey, we got a part for you. You want to come do it?" And
They
I'm
jumped
sure
at
they would
the
say,
pitch.
"Yeah."
And in a way, I kind of like Stolen Earth and Journey's End better than Magician's Apprentice and Witch is Familiar because it was like it was cool.
it was
Yeah.
like a reunion. It was like a family. It was like a family reunion.
It was
or-
good.
That
Yeah.
felt like a
Well,
finale.
you
It was like,
Yeah.
yeah, like that
Like,
was
yeah.
that's the way to end it.
Right.
Now it's just kind of like, okay, it kind of ended.
You know, I think he's trying too hard. Just relax. You know?
He's got
Let me-
himself.
let me
Moffat's
ask-
got himself so spaced out to where he's trying to work on 20 million things at once instead of going, okay, I'm going to budget myself for this, and then I'm going to budget myself for that. You cannot tell me Moffat can't, for once, for one season, go, okay, you're going to be the co-writer for Doctor Who, or you're going to be the co-writer for Sherlock, so I can deal with this. but he wants so much to have his hands in every single thing that
Why can't they just do a season without the Daleks? I
yeah,
know they have a contract with the Daleks that he says they don't, but they do. All right, maybe they'll appear once, but why can't they just have a season? You start off with the Jaggeroth. You do the Sea Devils. You do the Merlin thing with the Battlefield with Morgan Le Fay. Like, just go in a different direction with, and it doesn't have to be the hybrid or like they try to make every finale like the biggest finale ever. Nobody wants that crap because they keep screwing it up. Just relax when you're doing a finale.
if you
You
want
don't
to
have to outdo your finale.
then have him go, oh, glimpse them in like some screen, some scene. But yeah, I agree. This it's gotten to the point like it was like the original series after Davros was created.
I'll give you an example of the copying. Okay, you have, and this I'm gonna, and again, I am not bashing Doctor Who in any way. I'm just trying to be filled with comedy to explain myself. The Pandorica opens. Okay, River and the Doctor are talking. They're like, "Oh my God, it's the Daleks, it's the Cybermen, it's the Zatarans. Everybody is coming here." Right? You're like, "Wow, that's never happened before. That's fantastic." Right? Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. The next
He
year,
gets up there and
the
does that
next,
whole little
the next year
monologue.
is Wedding River Song, right? Was that the next year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then it's like, I sent a message all throughout the universe for everybody to save the Doctor. It's like, again, contacting the whole entire universe, everybody come here. The Doctor's in trouble. Right? Same thing like Trenzalore. Everybody is going
Yeah.
to Trenzalore.
Lord.
Everybody.
Because they
It's
care
like
about the Doctor that much.
3 times you did the same thing with
Look what Martha did. She said she traveled the world and had everybody. He didn't ask for thanks.
Right.
All that, and it's the same thing. There you go again.
You just had everybody. So now we have Dark Water and Death Net, right? Missy's got to control the whole entire dead thing, whatever. It was different, but it's like, why do you keep building yourself into a corner where you can't beat the previous finale? Just relax.
Mm-hmm.
Forget about the hype. Forget about trying to outbeat. When you try not to outbeat the finale is when you will beat the finale from the previous year. You just don't think about it. You don't try too hard. Just don't. Relax.
Just do an episode.
We're not expecting you to beat, like, everybody to appear in the finale.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like, oh, here we go. Just relax. They could do something so, like, ridiculous that could shock you with, like, a minor thing. You know?
They could do the whole. Cliffhanger type of thing, at least, like Star Trek used to do. So that way, it brings you to the next.
Right. You could get word that Sarah Jane died, and then that could be like, oh crap. You know, it'd be like a big thing. Just like the Brigadier when you hear the Brigadier died.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to do this constantly. You know? And again, all right, the multi-part things could work if they have stories that are worthy of multi-part things.
Yeah.
Don't give a crap about Before the Flood or After Under the Lake. That sucked.
That's like I always say about movies. If the movie is if the storyline needs one, make a sequel. Otherwise, just keep it as is.
And then the Zygons get a 2-parter, like Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, come on, Zygons.
Like, seriously? That could have been 1 episode.
Yeah.
And the inversion was, first of all, you had the worst, first parter ever.
That
And
was
then
the worst
best
episode of this season. To me, That first Zygon episode was the worst episode of this season.
Sleep No
The only
More.
thing that made the second part was the speech at the end.
Sleep No
I don't
More
think
is
so.
definitely my worst.
I understand that, but I couldn't stand that. Like, I can watch Sleep No More. That other Zygon episode, I can't watch it.
I can't watch Sleep No More. The inversion thing, I'm like pulling my teeth trying to watch. I'm sorry, the invasion, I'm trying to pull my teeth watching that again. Forcing myself. That was bad. How do you have a crap first parter and then the best second parter? I've never in my life seen that. And we kept joking about that, remember?
Mm-hmm.
We kept saying, like, you got to do... Well, he did. He did a better second part than the first part. Was that Moffat?
Yeah, Moffat was a part of that.
Yeah.
And it was funny, too, because when I saw his name...
part of the first part.
No, when I saw his name on the bottom, I was like, oh, what does this mean?
Because I bet you they filmed the first part, and then it was done, and it was like, this sucks. And then he had to go in and fix it. I'm telling you, I bet you he went in and fixed it.
Still at the end of the second one.
The second part, he purposely did it. Because he says it sucks. Just like Mark Gatiss, he's telling him to do a sequel. Because it sucks. He'll waste an episode just to fix it.
No more is going to involve an Ice Warrior. That's the only thing I can think of.
Listen, involve somebody. Because they suck by themselves, Sandman. They suck by themselves. It is boring.
I call them the REM monsters, or the REM monsters, because that's pretty much what they were.
And you know what it is? I'm tired of, like, stop referencing the past just to throw stuff in there, because it doesn't work. Like, if you blink, it's over. Like, you miss it. Like, certain things don't even need, like, you don't, like, again, my biggest complaint, you don't need to talk about the Nethersphere in the friggin'...
He's dropping that for newbies. That's all he's doing. He's dropping it for newbies, so people go, oh, he did this one, let's go back and watch it.
I hate that, man. I hate that. I hate the explanation. I hate the bootstrap pack. Come on. Stop.
That's all that's for, is the newbies.
And he should have been dressed up the whole season like that, with that velvet thing. Instead of you're going like you just woke up out of bed and you're running around. It's like, how are you supposed to, as the doctor, have anybody take you seriously? And I understand you're going to say, okay, well, the seventh Doctor had to listen. Even the sixth Doctor, he had a ridiculous thing on. People knew he meant business.
Yeah.
Because the way he talked kind of talked over his outfit. Like, he showed how smart he was. And he intimidated people. You know? He intimidated people with his voice and his commanding authority, the Sixth Doctor, where they looked past that ridiculous outfit. Even the Seventh Doctor, they looked past his height. They looked past whatever, because he was like a chess player. He was like, yo, man, he will take you out. I mean, the Seventh Doctor took races out, Dalek, Cybermen, without even trying hard. That's how great he was as a doctor. People don't see that. He took everybody out, mastered everybody. There was a whole finality about everything. Where when you had the Ninth Doctor, they're like, oh, Cybermen are done, Daleks are done, so it's like, oh, wow, Seventh Doctor took care of business. It's like, so, you know, but seriously, we need to have a season. Forget about the damn Coal Hill School too, because that's annoying too half the times. You know,
I've seen Coal Hill High School.
That's annoying. That's annoying.
If you're going to have the class, then you're going to have to leave the Coal Hill High School for the class, and let the doctor be the doctor. Yeah. Let him travel the universe and get away from Earth.
Yeah, seriously.
Rays of Alcatan was fantastic, and it was off Earth. That's why I loved it. That was like the first episode as off Earth.
They need to get away from Earth. I mean, when the second season came around, they need to get away from Earth. Because it's like, I understand they've got 13 or so episodes, and maybe out of that, maybe 6 are off Earth. But they need to get off Earth. They need to get a companion that's either one, an alien, not from a human settlement, but an actual alien like Nyssa or Turlo. Secondly, if they're not going to do that, then have a companion that's a decade to a century prior to the series began. Because to me, by doing that, you give the companion new eyes when they come to modern day. when you have constantly the same modern day.
But they all know who the Doctor is. They should. He's the
Yeah,
president of the world now. How
and
could
that's
you
just
not
it.
know
But
who the Doctor is?
That's another way of bringing new, fresh eyes. Here's somebody. Oh, I've never met the Doctor.
Well, they have to know him now. He's the president of the world.
I don't think
Everybody is.
anybody knows that, to tell you the truth.
Oh.
I think they kept it
So
secret.
have the companion be have the next companion be decades to a century prior to 2005. Because to me, having the same modern day companion has gotten old and that's another thing that's dragging the series down. And don't have them travel with their freaking loved one.
Well, the Russell T. Davies started that whole thing with the family background, who's this one, who's that one. But we need to. I want to see, like, why the villains teamed up. Like in Pandora, I know it got wiped, I believe, but like, why did they form an alliance? Who got them together? Why did Madame Corvarian never have the silence at the same time as the Headless Monks? She could be unstoppable with those two together in the
I'd
same
love
friggin'
the Headless
room.
Monks again.
In the same room, they could have been together. She didn't. Was she not with? Like, what was the story? Get a backstory on the silence that they're.
I'd be surprised if we ever see her again, honestly.
And they said confess to Clara. Why did they say confess? Like, what the hell?
They were priests.
Yeah, but you would kind of think that something is going on with that.
No, I honestly think that's just that was their explanation.
Right.
Oh, they were priests. Priests say confess. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
And that's another thing I never understood. Like, why do they look so horrifying?
Yeah.
If they're priests, like maybe the genetic process doesn't. But why are they so scary?
I thought of the notion that they came from the.
I have it in my head. Omega created. That's all as far as I know. I have that in my head because that makes sense to me. That Omega created them.
That they came from the schism, and they were the constitution of everybody who looked into it, and then the cracks is what they escaped through, and either due to their being from that schism or something, that's why people can't remember them.
I think they need to explain the cracks again because first it was to the prison where Prisoner Zero came.
Yeah.
Then it was a crack in another universe where the vampires in Venice came from. Okay, they could have had the Fisher King related to them.
Yes, exactly.
They could have did something really cool with that.
I was thinking, okay, Fisher King.
More evidence, in my opinion, that they were going in one direction, and then they lost track of what they were doing, and they're like, bring the crack back, and that'll be where Gallifrey is.
Right. That's what.
Unless they're slipping, yeah, because at least unless they're slipping Gallifrey into that alternate dimension is what.
So technically, you could say. Wait, technically, you could say that the Time Lord saved Rory.
That's what I was just about to say.
And put him in the Orton.
Yeah, because, like, literally, he went into that crack. Amy completely forgot about him, right? So they could have had some. If they were planning this from the beginning, wouldn't it be interesting if the Doctor finds Gallifrey and Rory's there, and he's like, "Hi, Doctor," and it's like, "What the heck is going on?"
Well, they could have. Here's the thing: they probably had Rory help him because they know that if he dies, he can't find Gallifrey.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that time, he didn't know that he saved Gallifrey. But if he would have died then, he would have never tried to save Gallifrey. They would just have blown up.
And the Alliance, like I remember the Daleks saying that the cracks in the universe are the work of the Doctor, right? But they're not, because like if that's Gallifrey if that's the Time Lord trying to get back through, how is that the Doctor's fault?
Right.
So like.
Unless they're laying all the blame on the Doctor, and.
That could be.
But the crack started in Doomsday, when they kept going back and forth, and they were cracking. David Tennant said, "Look, this is what's happening. It's a crack. You can't see it yet because it's not big enough. But this is what's going to happen." And it actually started in City of Death, a crack.
Yeah. Because of his
Jaggeroth.
Yeah, the Jaggeroth shit.
So, I mean, they're not saying it's related, but
marker on the back of. Mona Lisa.
Right.
Saying this is a fake.
But again, it's like, stop repeating everything.
You know what's funny too is that the Doctor went into that crack at the end of the 11th Doctor's
Right.
first season. He went in there. Does that mean he was on Gallifrey?
Well, that's I was saying, like, you know, he probably was there. He didn't remember anything or whatever.
Like he found them and everything was okay, and then Amy started remembering, and he was like, "No!" And then,
Right, that could have happened that way. Isn't it funny how? And I say this every year because ever since I noticed it like years ago, you had Smith and Jones, where there was a prisoner,
Yeah.
and the Jadoon were going after the prisoner, and then you have the Atraxi going after the prisoner Zero
Yeah.
instead of the Jadoon. It's like Moffat copied off Russell T Davis.
Yeah.
You know, you have the Beast Below, which was
I
like,
love.
which you know was kind of like I mean, the Beast Below and then Gridlock.
Yeah.
It's like there was a Beast Below with Gridlock. You know, it's like you're copying off of Doctor Who, like before you.
Mm-hmm.
It's how many times you could do that. He copied off the Hyde episode, where there was a female first time traveler ever from Earth. That he made that to be Augustus Pink or whatever. It's like you copied off of somebody else's stuff. And how does nobody see
Word
that?
plagiarizing comes to mind, but he doesn't.
But how does nobody make a big stink about this? It's like you just had that. You know? You had Amy and Rory shrink in the Tesselector, and now all of a sudden you're doing Into the Dalek thing.
Yeah.
You did it already. You did it already, but you did it, like, you know, briefly, but, you know. And then,
There's
how
so
many
many
times are you going to put
cool
Clara in the
episodes
Dalek? You put
that-
Clara in the Dalek in Asylum of the Daleks. And now you put her in the Dalek and Which is Familiar. It's like,
I think that was supposed to be like poetic or something.
I know, but what was poetic if she falls out of the TARDIS just like she fell and saw a snowman and died in this next episode? You know? It's kind of weird, Silence of the Library of Forest of the Dead, that, you know, you got the Raven in that episode. You have them forgetting, which was a precursor to the Silence, where Dr. Moon and the Silence hide on the moon,
Yeah.
and they have the same power as Dr. Moon, making people forget.
And then you forgot.
Yeah. So,
So, Mr. Moffat, if you're watching, stop copying.
yourself or your predecessor, like
Yeah.
Steve, you know, Russell T Davis, or
Because if
Whatever.
we can see it, it's.
because you know, Girl in the Fireplace, that was like his imaginary friend, Raggedy Man, and they
Yeah.
copied that with Amy Pond. It's like, come on, it's your own thing. The Dollhouse, the dolls, it's the same thing. You copied it yourself. Man, I gotta tell you, from being a big fan of Girl in the Fireplace, I was not happy that they did that in Deep Breath. I was pissed off that they even went there. Because here's the thing, it was an accident, the Madame de Pompadour. It wasn't that all the ships traveled through time or whatever. There was a freaking accident that they had to use up the crew. So there's no reason that should have been repeated, period. There is no other ships that would attack the crew and, like, time windows like that. You just, like, kind of crapped on Girl in the Fireplace.
Yeah.
I understand
Although
you got...
I thought that one scene with Capaldi where he was like, "Nope, not ringing a bell." I thought that was hilarious.
I was shocked when I saw that. I said, wow.
Because
But then
I was
again-
thinking like, oh, David Tennant was like falling for her, and Capaldi's just like, I don't even remember. Like, I was like, that's great.
But it goes to show, it could be, you know, almost 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So, you know, when it could be like, you know, if you're in love with somebody at age 18, you don't really remember, unless you should remember, unless it was whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. I still remember Lisa Nibbles or Noble.
I remember when I was 18 and different things. So I don't know. He should remember that.
See, I would say that, but it means nothing coming from me.
Yeah. So,
No, I still remember Sandy Hardy from Fairview High
see,
School.
even the 11th Doctor, and he was 1,200 years old, remember Rose Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. So,
That's another thing. Why does Moffat feel the need to make the Doctor age so rapidly?
yeah, I don't know that.
I never understood that idea. It's like he's just like, oh, now he's 4012, and it's like, oh,
Well, he's 2002, I think,
yeah, something like that.
or 3. But the thing is, like, so if the next Doctor's only a year old, so that means he's a crappy Doctor, that's embarrassing. You know? Please. I don't know. I don't know where they're going with it. I would like to have just Peter Capaldi as the Doctor, just not being like going through the adventures of the whole season, just
And being a
relieved.
drama queen.
Just relieved. Like, happy to be there, happy to stop the villain, happy to be. It just seems to me like they make it like he's old, an old Time Lord, 2,002 years old, that he's got to be bothered with, oh, I have to save these people? This is ridiculous. You know, what if I don't save these people? And it's like, what are you talking about?
I liked it better when he would like when he would show up to a place, and his original intention was to like have fun.
Yeah, like
And
the
then
5th Doctor. He would have the
something would
cricket
happen.
thing, let's go.
Wrong place, wrong time. He'd wind up helping somebody or a planet or a civilization or
They
something.
need to go
Now
back
it's
to
like
that.
I'm on a mission, and it's like okay,
Like the 5th Doctor, he's like, oh, I'm just here because I like the beach.
yeah.
And he's chilling on he's actually not even in the TARDIS. And Turlough's running around and finds Perry.
Yeah.
And the Doctor's just chilling. You know? Just chilling.
Everybody liked the fact that Perry was dressed in a.
But I'm saying, like, just you know, there's no reason you went here.
Yeah.
Just chilling.
Yeah, we need those again.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to show him arriving there.
Why did you land on here? Because I just wanted to sit on a chair on the beach. I mean, they've had those episodes.
Yeah.
The 2nd Doctor was chilling with, right? You're just chilling. And then you had was it Enemy of the World?
Dr. Romana in Meglos. That's what they were doing until.
Relaxing. They were chilling to see death. They were looking around and, you know, chilling around, you know, taking in the sights and everything. And it's like, oh, this is happening.
Yeah, they just happened upon an adventure, not arrived there because of the adventure.
All right. Just
So,
relax.
the rest of the writers, that's what we want to see next season. Is the
Relax.
Doctor and or companions just sitting around, drinking Mai Tais, and the adventure just happens to come to them.
You know what it is too. Like the Doctor, his I'm gonna hate myself for saying this, but his pickup line is, "Hey, all time and space, anything that ever happened or ever will, where do you want to go?" And it's like, I'm gonna take you back to 1700s Earth. It's like, I don't want to go there.
No.
Like,
But then again, how would they know where they want to go if they've never been to an alien planet?
Right,
So that's kind of a trick question. It's like, no, why don't you take me to some planet?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's what the answer should be. I don't know, but you take me someplace that's what she said, take me someplace amazing, Clara. And he took it to Rings of Africa.
I'd be like, take me to like, I don't know, show me an exploding star or something like that.
Right.
From a safe distance, of course.
Right.
Yeah, because we don't want to have the same thing that happened to the guy from Adrift.
Show me an alien or something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Not like a xenomorph, like show me a safe, friendly alien.
Right.
That's not gonna suck my entrails out or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Here's Mr.
But they still didn't have that. Why can't in Doctor Who they have those aliens that everybody claims to see now? Like, just explain what they are. That abduct people and stuff. Find those aliens. Nobody in the movies goes after those aliens. They never. You notice that? Not one friggin' movie really. They're like, all right, those aliens. Are they afraid not to show what they could look like if they're real? I mean, you know. Even in Star Trek, where are those aliens?
Well, I mean, they did, like, in the movie Paul, he was based off of.
Oh,
like,
I love
those
that. I got
aliens.
that on
Yeah,
DVD.
I mean,
But
there
why
are
could
some movies
the
that
Doctor
do.
bump into these people like the Doctor could just land in a TARDIS and somebody could be abducted and he'd be like, "Oh, you guys again! I told you don't do that."
Yeah.
Like humans. Stop!
I think it's because like some people really feel that has happened to them, so they don't want to offend them.
Well,
I
it's
guess.
possible it has, but I mean, what are they
Yeah.
afraid to mention it? I don't know. Everybody's afraid of anything. You can't mention anything this day and age without anybody being insulted, no matter what you say.
Shake the sand out of your hoo-ha and get on with your life.
Can't, God forbid, you say you don't like an episode. You get a million people hating on you, filling up your comments. How dare you? It's like.
So you want to censor me because I don't like an
But
episode?
then when it all boils down to it, and it's reflected on,
Yeah.
and then they say, oh, when other people say, yeah, the season like sucked or something, then they'll be like, oh yeah, he was right.
Hey, yeah, you know, it's like it's not only Doctor Who. You want to know what? I'm a huge Godzilla fan, as everybody knows.
Right.
There are several Godzilla movies that absolutely suck,
I agree.
and I cannot stand to watch them.
I hate Godzilla vs. Biollante.
There you go.
That is crap. And I'm like, why? I didn't like. They didn't even name the villain in 2000, which was Orca, but they didn't even say that's Orca or nothing.
Yeah.
Godzilla 1985, I just don't like.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. I don't like 1985. You like that?
I love that one.
No.
I didn't like obviously Godzilla's Revenge. I didn't like Son of Godzilla. I didn't like.
God.
I didn't really like the Millennium series Mecha Godzilla movies. I thought those were boring and bland.
Wow. You know what I hated?
Yeah.
But it's a bad reason to hate. There was a time when Godzilla movies on Thanksgiving, right?
Sure.
And they should be creative. They should show all different kinds of Godzillas. After a while, they got lazy, and they must have got it dirt cheap. And the only thing they ever showed was the Godzilla versus Smog Monster.
Yep.
Yes.
Which, after a while,
Yes.
I hated the Smog Monster.
That's one of the worst Godzilla movies ever made.
I hated it. But then after a while, like, I can't hate it. They just forced it down your throat, basically. You know?
Godzilla vs. Mothra, the 1992 one. The only good part of that movie was Godzilla coming through a volcano and Batra.
Right.
That's it.
So, there's been Walking Dead episodes I don't like.
Oh, yeah.
I really didn't like. I didn't care for this last episode. You know, not that I want to talk about stuff on Whovians, but
Right. Well, we're using it as an example, though. It's
I'm
like
just using an example. Like, you find out what happens to Glenn, right? You don't know what happened with Glenn, so then it's like, enough already. You tortured us by a week already. Stop making us wait 3, 4, 5 weeks to find out the Glenn. Because here's the thing. Everybody's focused on Glenn, and nobody's focused on Morgan episode. Nobody's focused on, you know, they're back in the, you know, Rick's back in Alexandria episode. Nobody's focused on Abraham and Sasha and Daryl because they want to know what the hell happened to Glenn. That's like torture.
Yeah, because they
Don't
left
do that.
song. He was in the camper with the
Right. I want to know what's happening to Glenn. Stop it already. And then the worst is just Into the Badlands thing. Oh, if you watch Into the Badlands at the commercial break and a half, then we'll show you the Walking Dead trailer. The hell with you? I'm not gonna watch Into the Badlands. I just want to see the trailer. Period. Don't force me to watch something I don't want to watch. And then you have to wait an hour now to see Talking Dead, which pissed me off even more. Because it's like, you should see that right after Walking Dead, you see Talking Dead.
Yeah, it loses the effect if it's an hour
It
later.
totally loses, because nobody's going to stick around half the time to see
Like,
that.
after an hour, it's like, you know,
Ridiculous.
guys...
And
this
they
is
know it,
just a
too. They know they'll get canceled, too. But they signed up for another year. But come on.
It's like, you know, guys, it is just a TV show. An hour later, people are doing other things, you know? It's like, we don't want to stick around for 3 hours.
We did like 3 casts, and I said, I got to go. Talking Dead's on, like an hour later. You know, it's like...
Yeah.
But, anyway, you cannot like an episode. You're not a hater.
No.
There are over
That's
700...
okay.
They were doing the lead up to the 50th adventure or 50th episode, 50th anniversary, and there was one gal who was talking about this. Well, if you don't like the current Doctor, then you don't like Doctor.
Right. Meanwhile, Moffat didn't like the 8th Doctor. Sorry.
Yeah.
He did not like the episode with the 8th Doctor. Did not like it. You saw his face when he's trying to, like, you know, look for somebody to tell him something good about the episode, because he did not. When him and Russell T. Davies got together, they were going over the classic Doctors and then 8th Doctor. When that came out, you saw his face. he had in his mind that I'm going to undo this mother. He is not going to be the one from the Time War. I'm going to make my own. You saw it.
Yeah.
From the very beginning. He couldn't accept it. And he got heat from his friends, and he still feels he might have made a mistake. The whole War Doctor thing was a mistake.
There's over 700 episodes of this show. There's bound to be a few that aren't good. You know,
Right.
It's like
it happens.
Yeah, look at the original series. I mean, there's a few that
they blasted classic episodes they don't like. Russell T. Davies and Moffat. They did fly. What was wrong with that? They were allowed to say, "Oh, I don't like this."
And you know, to comment on what you said with the Eighth Doctor, who's my second favorite Doctor, by the way.
Right.
You know, I
liked him.
I always assumed that it was him in the Time War, right?
He was.
From our perspective now, he's done absolutely nothing. Nothing. He did the movie, and then that clip, but from our perspective, he has done nothing.
Right. Which he technically was the Doctor in the Time War for a while. For a while, that they said for a while it was going on. Just about over. And then he regenerated into that one.
John Hurt slide in to...
I'm telling you, that was the biggest... Let me tell you something. That was the biggest mistake he ever did. First, his original idea was to make the Ninth Doctor, and he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't kill billions of people. All right, I just regenerated. I looked at my face in the Rhodes episode, which is true. So, like, stop changing things like we know we're smart enough to know, okay? But that was the biggest mistake doing the War Doctor thing, the biggest, because their own writers contradicted that he didn't have any regenerations left when he did. Nightmare in Silver. He's like, I can regenerate right now. Check to see if I'm lying. He's like, oh, yeah, you're telling the truth, Mr. Clever. So where did that regeneration go? So, come on. There's certain things you should know, okay? You're writing Doctor Who, you should know what episodes came before you.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people in the comics, they're like lazy, you know? And they don't want to like look back, so they're like, oh, I'm just going to do my own thing and retcon everything because I'm lazy, right? People with Doctor Who should know what happened in the past. There's no big deal about seeing every single episode known to man before that. Okay? It's not that hard. I mean, even though I grew up watching it, it's not that hard. So, you know, you don't have to be like, oh, you know, nobody wants to see that, a Doctor we never knew before. Only Moffat did because he couldn't accept it. As far as I'm concerned, Seventh Doctor was so great, that's the whole time when he wasn't away. You saw him. He's still the Doctor because he was amazing. He took everybody out. You know? The Eighth Doctor, I expected him to end the Time War. And then there you go with the Ninth. That's even Russell T. Davies said. He's the Doctor that went through Time War.
And we had the Fourth Doctor who explained why they swore off of violence and why they've got the policy of non-interference.
Right. And many years we try to... sorry.
No, go ahead. No.
Many years we're trying to find out if that regeneration with David Tennant counted. And they're like beating around, well, maybe it didn't, maybe it did. Maybe half regeneration, half of this. Meanwhile, it counted. They flat out counted it. Which I say technically shouldn't count, because the only way it does count is if he completely changes his face.
Yeah.
That's the way I always believed it would actually count. Same thing with Davros thing. Okay? He says, I'll lose my arm or a foot. It wasn't a complete regeneration for the whole Dalek thing. So, how could you count the David Tennant thing as a complete regeneration? You know. But, whatever. And it could have been, you know, it could have been, he could have had regenerations. He was just so old and senile in Trenzalore, he didn't even know how to regenerate anymore, or forgot.
True.
Which it could have just happened, you know.
Or he was just too damn busy, like you said, and just...
Right, and they could just say, oh, by the way, he did have a regeneration, like afterwards.
Or, you know, an interesting thing would have been that the 11th Doctor had one more regeneration, right? He regenerates into Peter Capaldi, right? And then kind of a subplot going on throughout all Capaldi's time is he's being more careful with this life because it's his last one.
Yeah.
And then when it comes time for him to regenerate, he gets more regenerations somehow. But now that they gave him a whole cycle, it's kind of like
senseless.
plot gone. It's like
Right.
that part is
They
gone.
ruined that whole thing. Like Matt Smith, you know, he did not know he had no more generations left when he was going through all those battles. Until Transport, then he's like, oh, by the way, I don't have any more.
Because like always, like he referenced it a few times. He was like, they were like, what's gonna happen if you die? He's like, I'll just regenerate. I'll be okay. And it's like, oh
Yeah, I
wait.
agree with you. They should have had it set up to where I'm not certain if I got any more, and then that's why Capaldi's acting the way he is in this regeneration. That would have been a better explanation of why he's acting.
And you can build up development there too, because it's like someone asks him like, why are you acting like what? And he says, because I'm afraid to die. I don't know what's gonna happen if I die. There won't be someone out there to stop all this from happening, right? And then he says, what if I die before I find Gallifrey? You know, something like that. And then you have the audience relate to him, because a lot of people are afraid to die. And you can relate to the Doctor and be like, yeah, I know how he feels. And then finally, when he gets more regenerations, it's more triumphant, because it's like, oh, good. And then like you have his last words be like, you know, I'm not afraid anymore, or something like that. Or he realizes that he's not afraid, and then he gets his regenerations.
Right. Well, you know, here's the thing now. Don't take it away from him now. He's got it.
Not now. No, it's too late.
Forever. Who knows? I'll be dead before he goes through those regenerations. But it's like, you know, just leave it like that. Don't even make that a situation where he has to find regenerations again. Let's just do the way he could probably regenerate indefinitely. It's even better.
Oh, yeah, it's too late now. They can't
Because I don't
take
even,
that
it's
away.
a waste. Like, who wants to go through that crap again? That's just ridiculous. So, I don't know. But, wow. This has been a long episode.
Really?
We got deep. We got deep into this stuff. You know.
Pretty deep.
And before somebody says it in the comments section, yes, we've discussed things on here that we've already discussed. We're probably going to discuss them again. Get
Yes.
over it.
Yeah, we're gonna repeat things. We're gonna go into stuff like Journey to the Center of the Toilet, like why the TARDIS makes machines that they don't talk about it anymore, and different things like giving birth and all this other craziness. That why is the TARDIS an enemy?
God, that should have been a Dream Lord adventure. Oh, that would have been so much better. Having the Dream Lord trying to con all the way through, not knowing whether he was conning the Doctor or his companion. That would have been so much easier and understood.
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, that was the 11th Doctor's master, as far as I'm concerned. Because you know what? He wasn't a hologram. You want to know why? Because he controlled the TARDIS when they were sleeping. You know, it could have been master that was like, you know, he could have been the master before Missy, where he's like, do I really want to be enemies with him, or I want to be his friend? And then boom, then he regenerates into Missy.
But look at the screen with the chakra. They had him being an android or a hologram in that one.
No, but I'm saying, like, it could have been
Yeah,
Johnson regenerated into him, Toby Jones.
I think that'd be a great reveal.
Yeah.
Like you see all of Missy's previous faces, and then he shows up, and the Doctor's like, "What?" And then
Well, like Toby Jones regenerates into Missy. You know, like in other words, at that stage he was just messing with the Doctor, but he really likes him as a friend. So he's like just not putting in a position where he's not going to die, but just messing with him mentally. You know. And then he's like, all right, I'm going to be female and I'm going to be friends with him again, type of thing. Because now, how could you go from that now? That Missy, like, wasted that whole plot just to say happy birthday and have the Cybermen do the Macarena. It's like, how do you go back to the Master being an enemy now again?
that episode I still don't understand that for the life of me. Why didn't they just scan Clara and see that she didn't have two hearts?
No, but
Honestly,
I'm saying, how do you make the Master evil again? Like, I mean, how do you make the Master will? He's an enemy with the Doctor again.
Well, whatever she's doing with those Daleks, where she said, "I've got a clever idea."
Yeah. She's going to be popping hybrids out of that capsule that they showed in the trailer.
That hybrid, whatever this hybrid thing is, if it shows up in Hellbent, it better be something good.
It's Clara's the hybrid.
But it better not be like, you know, it better not be like a Dalek that just regenerates into like
Clara's the hybrid.
something.
Clara's the hybrid.
Probably. But who knows?
Because she regeneration energy and she was in the Dalek.
Yep.
So I would still wish that she would be Cal from Silence of the Library, because that would make sense. You know. Or her kid is Cal or something. I'm still upset Danny Pig's not back. That just thing bothers me, how you create this whole future based on
He had to have
everything.
pissed somebody off.
Talon, he did. The way he sat on that couch.
The actor had to have pissed somebody off, and that's why they're writing him out of the school.
No, he went dressed up like ridiculous at those things, and they're like, "Oh my God, why are you dressed like that?"
I like how the Doctor too. I like how he just left the Memosphere active. Like he didn't shut it off.
Right.
And let those souls go to rest. You know, whatever you believe is in the afterlife.
Right.
Like he just kind of left them there in that thing, and it's like, hey Doc, can you shut this off?
And then they're gonna show like a clip where it's like a disco ball someplace, and inside you can see like Danny Pink like this, and it's gonna be like, and all the people from the different episodes are in there, like, and then fair faced man is like, why are you doing this? And it's like, you know, like, well, because obviously they're all in there still.
Yeah.
There is a reason why you put one person from every episode in an atmosphere. You know what that reason is? Because you're supposed to use them later, not just never be seen again.
Yeah.
Okay? It's called, oops, I forgot. That's like when John Byrne shrinked Tigra in the West Coast Avengers for like 27 issues and left her in the backyard or something. It's like, what happened to her? I don't know. Do you care to say what happened to her? Maybe, maybe not. But like, you know, still. Gotta explain things. Where's the Netosphere? Where's Danny Pink? Where is everybody? That's it.
That means all those people and all those Zygons that died are in the Netosphere too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You're always going to explain, well, they wanted more money, so, yeah. Like, no. Don't say it like that. Like they wanted more money. That's why you couldn't show all of them. So. You guys there? Scott, you there?
I'm still here.
Okay.
Maybe your translation of your Mandarin finally.
No, it was actually one of our members. Yeah, I know. Yes, yeah, I know it.
It finally got done.
Yes, I still have to translate the Mandarin Chinese emails. Yes. Yes, before I wake up, yes.
The TARDIS translation matrix will do it for you.
Yes. I know Peter Parker can learn Mandarin Chinese in like 8 months, but to me it takes a little longer than that. Yeah. All right. So, no, I think we want people coming in just as we're about to go out.
Of course.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, you know. Let's see.
Well, we can go another 2 hours.
Yeah, sure. I only got surgery in the morning. I mean, like, what do I need to sleep for
You
now?
get them in here, and it's like, it's too late! And then you just shut the show off.
You know what I always say, like, I'm always going to go to bed early on Monday night because Tuesday's my 15-hour day. I always say that, and I just don't do it.
I gotta get up and
I gotta get up and be out of the house at
Truck
4:30.
days. I do the same.
And I never do it. And then tomorrow I'll be like, oh God, oh God.
Yep.
Oh,
I'm the same way with truck days.
Oh God.
God,
I'm not gonna stay up so damn late. I'm not gonna do it.
I will be cursing myself in my head for like an hour. Like constantly. Like my eyes would be like this, and I'd be like walking down.
No, you know you gotta blame Doctor Who for it. Like that damn show is keeping me up all night.
Gotta do podcasts, right? I gotta do podcasts. One night I can't go to bed now. I keep saying to myself every freaking Monday night, I'm like, this can be different. I even say, Sharon, I'm going to bed Monday night.
Maybe you should have just come over and stand behind you and just start staring at you.
She wakes me up half the time because I can't. I'm like, she's my alarm clock. I can't wait for her to move in. I can't wait. January. Because like I need somebody to smack me in the head and get me all together. It's like craziness. Just say no to podcasts.
Just say no. Yeah.
Just say no and go and tell someone you love.
And remember,
No.
kids, if you stay up late for podcasts, the crust in your eye will eat you.
Oh.
It's got to be in Moffat's living room. Gatus is chilling on the couch, and they're like this, and they're watching like old Doctor Who stuff, and they're like, Spoonhead did it. A snowball, we did it. A tree that, a woman could pilot a spaceship, we did that. Okay. All
Trust in
right.
our eyes.
What are we going to do? How about aliens on 34th Street? We did that already. Pork monster, that's just stupid. And then you see like Gator's like falling asleep, and then he's got like this thing in his eye, and the Moffat's looking at him like, "That's it, that's it. What is that in your eye?" And it's like, and then he's like, "Let's put it under the microscope." And then they look at him, like, "Oh," and then it's like, "That's the Sandman." High five.
You know what happens, and then like a year later, one of them will sneeze, and they'll be like, "Save that tissue."
Well, no, the best is, it's like, all of a sudden, like they'll be playing the music in the background to get themselves pumped, dun 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 dun, or something, right? And then all of a sudden, you see like Moffat clipping his toenails, and then you just be like, what happens to those toenails? Do they disintegrate? Do they become creatures? And it's like the leftovers.
How long before they do an episode where it's like, you ever wonder what happens to those socks that you put in the dryer and
In the alternate universe, they get sucked in there. I'm telling you, it's the most ridiculous thing, I bet, that they think of these things.
Do you ever lose something in between the cushions of your couch?
There's something in the corner, Meanwhile, like Gatus has the sheet on, probably acting like a ghost, and it's like he wakes up with something in the corner of your eye. And it's like, oh, that's a whole thing. Or probably Gatus was sleeping with the sheet on, and like, that's what we're going to do.
Where does candy corn really come from?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Have them walking around like the...
They've done everything.
Let me do this right.
They're like, what if the trees attack us?
Let me do this right.
What if the
They
moon...
walk
Did that
around
happening?
Yeah. Well, that's
Oh, yeah.
that's probably happened, right? He's probably like, he's probably had an egg in his hand, right? And he's like looking outside on his porch or whatever, like in his backyard after barbecue, and it's like nighttime. And he had the egg, and he's like looking in space. He's like, oh, the moon's an egg. It's an egg. High five. It's like, come on. Or they probably would joke around, yeah. You know what would be funny? If, like, Danny Peake's walking across the street, and Clara called him to say, I love you, and he gets killed because she called him. And they're like, and we'll put him in a disco ball.
Thunder Dreams dressed as Santa and just does all this little...
We'll put him in a disco ball. And, like, we'll call it, like, the Nether Sphere, but it'll be disco ball-like. It's like, what the hell?
Oh, what?
Like Missy's been around for like thousands of years waiting for them to die and then plucking them out.
They should have a spin-off series of what was Missy doing during all this time. And she's just kind of like adjusting to being a woman.
Right. I still say this should be an episode to, you know how he erased himself from the universe where nobody in the databases knew about him?
Yes.
All those races pissed off that he messed with their files, and they sent bounty hunters at him. Like, they're pissed. Even the good guys are pissed. Like, he should get some ramifications for that. Can't do that. Pissed them off. Some of the stuff is ridiculous. The Wi-Fi is evil. Bells of St. John, the Wi-Fi. And the Bells of St. John was a TARDIS, St. John, TARDIS, Bell written the phone in there. That's the whole Bells of St. John. God. You have the great intelligence. I'm waiting for the villain called Mr. Suck.
And he's a
That's what we already did. It was called
Yeah.
The Stand.
Even Love and Monsters got resolved when the adorable Zorbalov got defeated by the Doctor. But the Sandman is like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, the Sandman runs in the torch. Like, what the hell is that? What is that? Well, the Doctor doesn't do that. No, my Doctor doesn't do that. None of the doctors I know do that. Oh, Sandman!
I like too how like Rasmussen is like threatening us, like you're crashing into Neptune, right?
Yeah, like why couldn't they just do what we said? Make him the Valyard. He looked a lot like the Valyard.
Yeah.
Like seriously. Gatiss is like, damn, you should have been the Valyard. That's right. God.
Well, that's probably the sequel. They'll probably decide to say, well, he's the
They
Valiant.
wasted that guy's talent on that crap role, just like they wasted David Warner's talent on a good guy for no reason. When David Warner should always be a bad guy.
Because I saw him last night when I watched the Time Bandits.
Oh yeah, he was the devil.
Yeah.
He was evil. Yeah, it's great. He's a better bad guy. He was Jack the Ripper in the time,
Which I've got on DVD. One of my favorite movies too.
He is a better villain than a hero.
Yeah.
Better. Certain people can play both, but no, he's better.
Because he's got that look. It's just there's something about him. He's just got.
He could have been a doctor, or he could have been a master.
Yes, exactly.
In fact, he was.
I think in
the Big Finish, he was
first
both, right?
Doctor, I forget which.
Yeah, he was a doctor, right? Yeah. You gotta know someone's strengths and their weaknesses, or their strengths. Like he's better bad guy. They could have had him in the Cold War.
Yes.
That he could have turned sinister, and he could have been working with the Ice Warrior or something. But they made him all like gooey and nice.
Or he could have been an undercover KGB agent, and that was the true reason why they had gone up there, because they had gotten word that there was something up there in the ice, but they didn't know what.
Or he could have been fake, and he could have really been an Ice Warrior that was looking for the other Ice Warrior. The head of command. I mean, he was a Klingon. He's been everything. Do I want Gatiss to write Sleep No More too? Not really.
No.
Not really. I'm like, oh, wow. I started, I'm like, oh, God, why? Why? Why are you doing that? Why? I wouldn't see Spoonheads appear again. Why would you do that?
What's going to happen?
Now I know one episode of Series 10 is going to suck, because it's related to the Suck episode. Now you need extra episodes, because that episode's just waste.
You know what's going to happen?
What?
Those Spoonheads are going to come back, and the Sandman are going to be there with the Spoonheads.
God. Don't give him any
Doing
ideas.
everything.
So he's going to have the Legion of Loser villains in one episode. All the Suck villains.
They're going to be trying to connect to the Wi-Fi, and the Spoonheads are going to show up. Yeah.
With snow.
Snow and sand in your eye. It's like, oh.
To this day, when I see Sandman, I'm like, oh, something happened when her water hit the carpet. I'm like thinking, oh, maybe something was with that. Remember that? When her tear went on the carpet, I'm like, why did they do that? Like, it's like maybe her soul went into something. I mean, like, because if the snow could become creatures and her tears affected that, couldn't she become something? I was like,
yeah,
she was mixed with the snow. So that Clara should technically have lived still. Because she was kind of like that lady, but she was positive, not negative. So technically, maybe they could bring that Clara back. From Snowman. I don't know. I guess we just forgot about Jenny Strax and Bastra, right? What was that about?
See them again. I'd rather see them again.
So in other words, like they insult Moffat by giving him millions of dollars to do a Pound Nostra game, and we just don't see him anymore now because they tried to give him money to do a series, and he's like, I don't need them. The hell with them. I mean, they're his characters. They're like became popular. Bring him
They
back.
did his Big Finish. I would rather see him as Big Finish. They're not going to do a big. They're not going to do a TV series.
But the thing is, I would have rather seen Vaster, Jenny, and
Yeah.
Strax this season. Like, how do you not have them? This season's been like up and down.
They could have been in Face the Raven.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
How great would that have been?
They could have showed up and, like, you know, kept the Doctor from going postal.
Well, why can't Gatiss write for Moffat's characters? Why can't Gatiss write like a River Song episode or like a Weeping Angel episode or a? I mean, he did the Dalek thing. He screwed that up with Victory of the Daleks, but not that it was his fault. But the new creature Daleks, the big, all right, but,
The crayon ones.
yeah. So why can't he like do Weeping Angels or something? Is he going to screw that up too, or no? Why can't somebody else do a Weeping Angel story? Why does it have to be Moffat that does it? Why can't somebody else use the silence? Why does it have to be Moffat? I mean, is that what it is? I mean, all right, he has River Song, right? But that was on the Russell T. Davis's thing too. So isn't that River Song part Russell T. Davis also? Technically, or no?
Could be.
I mean, and Captain Jack, why can't you just bring him back? Isn't that Moffat's as much Moffat's character as it is?
Yeah.
Russell, so now you create a show as your Captain Jack. Why don't you just bring Captain Jack back?
Because everybody's wanting them both back anyway, and why do you have to do it in a special? You could easily do an episode each for 10, or you could have done an episode each in.
It's not like you got. I mean, like if I know that you want me back in Doctor Who and I'm an actor, I wouldn't ask for a raise or whatever. I just do it
Yeah.
for the fun of it. You know, or in some cases take a pay cut. Remember, like the actors took a pay cut just to be in Kick-Ass 2,
Yeah.
just to do it.
They were doing it for fun, and not because they.
Right, they were having fun with it. Which, because of that, they'll probably get to do a third one. I mean, it's just, you know.
Because the guy who played the father in Land of the Lost, he thought the cast should have gotten more money, so that's why he left for a time, and they brought in Uncle Jack, and
Right. Marshall, Will, and Holly
Yeah.
on a routine expedition. Yeah. Yeah, Uncle Jack, right? Uncle Jack is searching, yeah.
yep,
And then Uncle Jack went, right, and then they got Marshall, right. Whatever. Damn. Tell me the Slee Stacks don't look like the Silurians.
oh, they do.
Tell me.
Yes, they definitely
Thank
do.
you. Thank you.
And in that updated series, I would love to have seen. Yeah,
Slee Stacks. People look it up. Slee Stacks, Land of the Lost, and Silurians from, yeah.
yes, that would be
Yeah.
an excellent. That would be an
From
excellent
Earth.
deal.
Right. With the masks. That Silurians with the mask helmet on. Yeah.
Yes.
They look like Slee Stacks. Yeah. Yeah. So. They look a lot different than they used to look in the Silurians episodes. So, just saying. Slee Stacks. All right.
Basketball players.
Yeah. Didn't they do like a villain that was like Maximilian from like Black Hole? Didn't like Moffat have like a creature like
Yeah, I can't remember what his because I was
Right.
just for giggles. I looked at the
They
series.
did, he did do something like that to make a villain look like that, I think, right? That was another great movie back in the day when I was a kid,
Yeah,
1979, I believe. It was called Black Hole by Disney, which they are rebooting that as well as we
Yeah.
speak. But they got to keep the
Oh,
same
boy.
looking robots. Yeah, that was pretty cool, those things. All right. And Space 1999, they're remaking that too. So, everything's coming back. Everything. The Pandora opens. All of them coming out. Yeah.
Let's redo Witch Mountain, but keep it as the original.
They redid. Oh well, they redid it with The Rock.
The Rock. but
Let's do a sequel. You know what? Tell Gatiss, sleep no more. No, no more. Let's do a sequel to the Happiness Patrol
yes.
and bring back the Candyman. Let's go to that frickin' planet,
Oh God.
but make them be sad now or something or whatever, and just be like, you know, that was cool back then. The Candyman's cool. And even the guy said for some reason he was going to make him again. Like, rebuild him. I don't know why, but he was going to rebuild him. Remember?
Yeah.
So, that'd be great. Yeah. Yeah, like a microchip had his memories in there still. And then he's the same voice, same everything, same look. And then when he sees Peter Capaldi's doctor, he just knows. And then I could just picture Peter Capaldi messing with the Candyman. Just screwing with him. How great would that be?
Oh.
Kids would love that. You want it to be a family show? Kids would love that. Great. Could have an army of Candymen. They could just call the episode Candymen. Be like, just like a whole, forget it. Be sick. See, we got some cool ideas.
Yeah, they could even do a Land of the Lost style thing where the Sleestacks are connected to the Silurians.
Yeah. Long lost cousins, right? Like the Sea Devils, yeah. All right, on that note, guys, I know it's late. Good night.
Nighters.
Take care. Bye for now.